Hey guys, we're here with Coach Amber. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Christian?
I can't complain. I can't complain. So when did you realize coach was something you want to do for the rest of your life?
I realized it first in high school, probably my freshman year. So that was in 2003, 4. I went to Winter Haven High School in Florida, and my high school coach is the main reason that I wanted to coach. I'm just like, I want to do something exactly like she's doing because what she was doing was making an impact on her players, not only through basketball, but us as people. She cared about us. And so the impact she was able to make on me and my teammates, I knew that that was what I wanted to do was coach. And then when I got to Kentucky, I realized I wanted to coach in college. And so ever since then, I've been very clear on what I want to do and sharing those things with the people that are close to me. And I've been able to, get where I am today because of the people I've been surrounded with.
Zip, Tammy Jackson, Amanda Butler, Vince, Udonis, all Florida natives. You're a Florida native. Um, if you were to use one word to describe a Florida basketball player, what would it be and why?
Good question. I think I think we're just passionate, you know, including myself and, you name those greats. And then there's Tiffany Hayes, who's, my best friend. She played at Winter Haven with me, played at UConn, now playing in the WNBA. And she's just extremely passionate about the game. She loves the game. So I think, the Florida ballers, they just hit a little different, and so we are very passionate about what we do. We from a young age are very, I think, want to put in the work and want to, either make it out of Florida or stay in Florida. But we're always, pretty passionate about what we do.
Mm-hmm. If you were to use one word to describe a coaching style, what would it be and why?
My coaching style.
Yeah.
I want to say passionate again, but I think definitely intense.
Hmm.
Intense. I am very intense in whatever I do on the court. If you interact with me off the court, it might be a little bit more calm. I'm still bringing energy, but definitely a intense manner in what I approach this game because the game has given so much to me. I want to give it all I have, with in an intense manner and with a lot of energy. So that's just kind of how I carry myself when I'm on the court and my coaching staff.
Hmm. So you played at Kentucky. Um, Having played at that level, you're at your alma mater. Give me a positive and a negative, from what you've seen, because you're a former player and you're not far removed from your playing days. And could you say, I wish they did this when I was there. They don't really have that. Or I love that the players nowadays have this or do this, and we just didn't have that at that time. So can you give me an example?
Yeah, for sure. The positive of being back, I think the biggest thing is that my players can relate to me. No matter how far I'm removed, they know I've been in their shoes, and so I feel like when I'm able to give them advice about certain situations, they know that it's hitting close to home because I've also gone through that, similar to that, and I've been in their shoes. So that's the most probably rewarding thing about being back is that I'm able to make an impact on these players, and I've also played here. So I wouldn't even call it a negative. I'm just a little salty that they have certain things, just like Tempur-Pedic beds over in the dorm. I always bring that up that they just need to be super grateful because I was over here sleeping on cardboard boxes. Is what I joke around. I wasn't on cardboard boxes, but that's kind of like a little a fun joke. But what I'm glad that they have that kind of like my class, even after us or before us wasn't able to have was that mental health piece of it. They have a lot more options for that, and I'm so happy that they have that because it's needed, especially with just all the pressures, the anxiety that comes with being a D1 student athlete. It is not easy, and so I think our players are able to be more well equipped to handle this. And then I'm super happy they have the NIL, the cost of attendance, so the money piece of it, the financial piece of it that is able to just help them, get through this process. And here at Kentucky, we do financial literacy. We're helping them with how to invest, how to prepare for your future. Because, when I played, you know, we talked about budgeting and stuff like that, but a lot of us are not usually prepared to go into the real world and handle our money properly. And so I'm super happy that our players have that. I wish we did, but I can't live in the past. I'm just super happy that they have that now.
Mm. Awesome, awesome. So you were a part of the So You Want to Be a Coach program, 2013. For those who don't know about that program, can you talk about that and positives about that and just overall about it, your experience?
Yes, and so it's kind of the title says it itself is so you want to be a coach, and so it is an opportunity for young people. Either you're able to go your senior year of your college career, or you can go a year removed. And so I actually went into the program a year removed because I finished in 2012, and Kentucky was still able to pay for that. So I was super super grateful to have that opportunity. And so I knew I wanted to be a coach. And so I knew that would give me an opportunity to connect with others, to learn from people that, have, being able to rise in this profession. And so I was able to meet people my age and also interact with people that are in places that I want to be. And so, I mean, we would sit, maybe it was like 2 or 3 days, and we would sit in sessions and just learn about, the good, the bad, the pros, the cons that come with being a coach, but how to handle yourself as a young professional, as trying to get into this business, and just giving us all type of information of, if you want to be a coach, this is what it's going to take. And it's not an easy profession. It is something you have to be extremely passionate about. And so, I was able to build bonds and relationships with people my age and older than me that have been able to mentor me or either I look up to. So it was a great program that helped kind of shape me.
Mhm. Any friends you developed through that program? Anyone you stay in touch with? Or anyone I mean, you're obviously at a high level. Anybody else is a part of your class is like, yeah, they doing big things over there that you can think off top.
Honestly, off top, I cannot remember. But I know, through that there have been people that I still stay connected with, but that was in 2013. You really trying to get me to dive in the archives with that one. But I know there's people that I met in there that are now, whatever level they're on, they are, doing well. Some people got out of it. Some people stayed in it. So I think, I've been in that program. I've been in multiple clinics and symposiums and been able to connect, even out on the road recruiting. I've met some of my really good coaching friends that we are rising in the ranks together, that we are helping each other, whether that's asking about recruiting, asking about how you're doing this and that. And so I think it's super important to build, genuine relationships with other coaching friends that can help you grow in this business.
Hmm. Uh-huh. You were also part of the NCAA Uplift scholarship. You went to a professional development thing as well. For graduate assistants, they gave you a scholarship. Can you tell us something about that too?
Um, what was that, during the NCAA or the
Hmm.
March Madness?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
It was
I'm
an NCAA Uplift registration scholarship, a professional development event at the Stephen Kennard Women's Basketball Graduate Assistant Scholarship Program.
Okay, so that was actually my GA, my graduate assistant at Tennessee.
Hmm.
And so, okay, yeah, okay, I didn't know if that was
Yeah.
something you're saying, a programmer. Can
Yeah.
you edit this? I know I'm asking this right now, but
We're good. We're good. You're doing your thing, coach. It's
okay,
organic.
okay,
Let it go.
all right, sounds good because I was definitely confused. But yes, I was awarded a scholarship at the University of Tennessee as a graduate assistant. And the name of it, I think, those were definitely the people that paid for my scholarship at Tennessee. And so, after I finished playing basketball, I wanted to play professionally. And so I went home for a year from 2012 to 2013 to try to pursue my professional career, but that did not work out for me. But I always knew I wanted to be a coach. And so Coach Elsie, who is now the head coach here, who also coached me at Kentucky when I was a player, she had left here from Kentucky as an assistant and then went back to her alma mater, which I know was extremely special for her, and to give back to a place that gave to her. And so she helped me get that GA spot at Tennessee, and I knew that was a way to get my foot in the door to become a coach. And so I was there for 1 year. My plan was to be there for 2 years, but after 1 year, I was able to get another opportunity as an assistant. But that GA year was very, instrumental in my growth as a coach. I was able to be behind the scenes to see how everything works at a Power Five high level program. That is a program that Pat Summitt ran for a long, long time and was able to, put at the top of women's basketball. And so I was able to be a part of that program. So I do not take that lightly. But in that year, like I said, I was able to just be behind the scenes, do the small things, just grind. And so it was a important piece of my coaching career and helped me be the coach that I am today.
You mentioned your year at Tennessee, then you moved on. After your first year, you became an assistant coach at Louisiana Tech, correct?
Yes, correct.
So that's a school with tremendous basketball tradition. Tell me about your time there.
Yes. So was there for 2 years, and I coached under Tyler Summitt, who was Pat Summitt's son. And I also coached he was the head coach, and then Mickey DeMoss was the associate head coach there. And so a little backstory on that. Mickey DeMoss was the head coach at Kentucky, and she recruited me to play here, and I committed to her initially, and then she left. But then I was able to coach alongside her and Tyler Summitt. And so I feel like everything came full circle with being able to work with Mickey. And so in those 2 years, those are my first 2 years as an assistant coach. And so it was a grind, at a mid-major, but it was also a program, like you said, has amazing history in women's basketball. Back in the day, they were in the top echelon of the great teams. And so it was pretty special to be a part of a program like that. So I learned a lot in those 2 years. And, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything, no matter what. And so I'm super grateful just for the opportunity and for others believing in me. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot just being hands-on.
As a coach, what are your non-negotiables?
My non-negotiables, I mean, it's hard work. It's hard work and it's being disciplined. I think, and being a good person, treating others, how you want to be treated, I think is the most important thing that you have to do, because then that goes back into building relationships. But treating others, good. I don't care where they fall, if they are a manager, a janitor, if they're the AD, we need to be treating people well and good. And then hard work, being a hard worker in everything you do, not just on the court. It needs to be off the court as well, academically. And then being disciplined, because how you do one thing is how you're going to do everything. And I think just, how you treat people, being a hard worker and being disciplined in everything you do.
Mm-hmm. Before I got into coaching, I was a journalist at a magazine called Slam. So I was at Slam. I was their head guy in women's basketball. This is like during the time of like the Adia Matthews, Alyssa Thomas, around your time too. Now I'm into coaching, when I talk to a lot of my kids, even when I coach EYBL, I would ask them, yo, who you watch? You saw that game the other day? And they'd be like, not really. So, I've learned that the majority of young players may watch NBA, but they don't watch the WNBA and they don't watch a lot of college basketball. Why do you think that's the case, and how do we fix this? Are we as coaches should do a better job of connecting these kids to the game they play? Or why is it that you think that the girls' game, for lack of better terms, is being digested by our own women's basketball players?
Right. I think some of it is not on us. I think it goes back to way out of our control and the media. because when we put women's basketball, when we put the WNBA on TV, on ESPN, it's going to be watched. And so I think that is out of our control. But obviously, with this generation, it is social media that is, quick information and not actually looking into, who has done what I want to do. It's always who is, highlights on Instagram or Twitter and stuff like that. So, this generation does want, quick information, but I think if, the media were to put women's basketball, WNBA on TV more, then it would be watched more. And obviously, as a coaching staff here, we talk to our players. We'll send messages even during the WNBA playoffs. In there talking trash. Who you going for? You watching stuff like that. And so I think as coaches, obviously, we have an influence of making sure we're pushing, that envelope with that. So, I don't think I can give you one reason, but I know for sure if it was displayed more and pushed more, that it would be watched more and paid attention more.
Mm-hmm. Your next step, you go back to Kentucky. You're the director of player development at UK. Now this is unique in the sense of, like, in most programs, that coach isn't allowed to be on the floor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, also at that time, you had I'm sure, a fair bit of experience being on the floor. So you're experiencing different levels and different experiences. First part of the question is, was that a hard adjustment? And the second part is, what are some things that you focused on during that time that really helped you hone your craft so that when you got back on the floor, you were better prepared and more efficient?
Absolutely. Great questions. I think it was absolutely hard to go from being on the court for 2 years to then now being in a support staff role. But I knew Kentucky was where I wanted to be. And so even though I knew it would be an adjustment, I knew I would be around people that cared for me, that wanted the best for me. And in this coaching profession, that is not always guaranteed that you're going to be around good people. And so for me, it eventually became an easy decision, because obviously I could have went anywhere else and been an assistant, but not had the experience that I needed or didn't know I needed in this position. And so it helped. I needed those 2 years, and I was so impatient, just like, I want to get back on the court. I want to get back on the court. But during those 2 years, I think it took a lot of just prayer to ask God for patience. And so during those 2 years, I asked for patience, and during those 2 years, I was able to grow. I was able to be around, Matthew, LZ, Coach Butts, and then Lynn Dunn, who's a Hall of Famer. And so I had to take a seat back to just be like, listen, you are around greatness. 3 of those coaches have been around Pat Summitt, and under her coaching tree, Lynn Dunn has done so many amazing things. Won a WNBA championship, coached everybody you can probably name. And so I just had to sit back and just be like, Amber, just be a sponge and soak it in. You are going to get where you want to be. And so I think having those conversations with me, with myself daily, kind of helped me refocus. And something that I did was I trained kids. I could train kids 8th grade and under. And so I kind of started a training business where that helped me stay on the court, and it helped me become a better teacher on the court, because when you're working with younger players, you have to break it down. You have to use language that can be understood. And so I think that helped me stay sharp on the court piece, and then the mental piece of it, just being able to be in meetings with the coachings, them asking for my feedback, me being able to think the game more, and then also just having a relationship with the players and talking to them. I think helped me become a better coach, even without not having that coach title.
All right, I'm good. So I had the mute button on. 2019, you're in a WBCA 30 under 30 list. Um, Tell me about, that experience for you. Why was that important to you? Anybody that you're still connected with, your friends with. So just tell us about all that.
Yes, that was a super big accomplishment for me. Once it was put on my radar, I don't know when, but it was kind of like a goal for me to be named, one of the top 30 under 30 assistants in the country. I think it was kind of something I set my eyes on, my goal on, and I wanted to achieve that. And so I went for it, and it worked out. And so that was just an opportunity to be, recognized for kind of the hard work that you put in at being such a young age, and kind of, and it's not that, hey, you're in, you get named that you're gonna do great things. It's not guaranteed, because there are other people that have not being able to have that recognition. But I think for me, it was just like a goal of mine, that I had my eyes set on, and I wanted to reach it. And so I've been able to just, lock in with that. But that opportunity was awesome. We got to hear from, greats in the game during the WBCA convention during the Final Four. We got to sit down and have conversations with other people, and someone, who I definitely connected with, that I'm still close with today. His name is Roman Tupner. He's at the University of Alabama. And so, we built a close relationship. We've been both rising in the ranks. So, that is definitely somebody that I know was in that 30 under 30 class, and has kind of we've kind of gone through the trenches together, and it's awesome to see both of us in the SEC coaching.
So you became an assistant coach at UK. Why did it make sense? Because I know you had opportunities outside of it being your alma mater. I know you had a good amount of opportunities. You had Tennessee, Louisiana Tech, Power Five support staff member. I'm sure there might have been different opportunities that arose throughout that time. So why did you decide to stay put? Obviously it being your alma mater, but take that out of the equation. Why UK? Why there?
It's hard to take the alma mater piece out of it, but because once I got to Kentucky, and I told Tiffany Hayden Smith, who was our academic advisor, like we talked about my goals of wanting to be an assistant here at Kentucky. I did not know when that was going to happen. And it was not guaranteed that when I came back here support staff that it was going to happen. But I always knew that God placed me here, that I was here for the right reasons. And I couldn't compare my path with anybody else, even though my other friends were coaching and getting that experience. I just had to trust God and know that like everything was gonna work out. And so, I stayed put because, like I said, I was surrounded around good people, and that for me, I feel like it's rare, that you are surrounded with good people in this coaching profession. Obviously, there are plenty of great staffs and stuff like that, but I just knew my situation, and I knew that I wanted to be here at Kentucky because it is a special place. I think, our AD, Mitch Barnhart, even from when I was a player, he's invested in women's basketball. The resources are here. And so that's not everywhere. And so I knew the resources were here. Obviously, there was a comfort level with being here. I knew people here that worked in athletics, even from a former player. But just being here and being back, it felt like home. And I think that is always been the case. It's felt like home. And so it's just a special place. And I believe we can do special things here. We are able to get good people, good players here. And, it's been a steady rising program, it's gone through the ebbs and flow, but I believe this is a special place that we can do special things at. And so I wanted to be a part of that.
Okay. It's July. We're in the gym, Nike Championship in Chicago, Nike Nationals. You walking through the gym, you're looking for some talent, What catches your eye? What makes you stop walking? What are you looking for when you get on the floor? Like, oh, that player does that. I'ma sit down. Or I was gonna leave. Now I'ma stay. So
Yeah.
some of those things.
Some of those things, and I'm kind of biased because of how I played. Uh, I definitely look like, even if they're a small player or they can be a tall player, whatever it is, I look for like who is the loudest on the court, who is screaming dead, 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 ball, ball, ball. You know, somebody that is very vocal, very energetic, because that has a motor. Those are hard things to teach. And so looking for things um, that players already possess that are hard to teach and to get out of somebody, because it's hard to, if a player is pretty, mild mannered and calm, naturally it's going to be hard to get them to consistently get them to screaming, talking, flying all over the place. And so I look for players that are super energetic, that are hustling, that are getting on the floor. And so those things definitely draw me, to players. But then obviously, playing at a Power Five higher level, though, there are other things you have to look at too. You look at um, athleticism, versatility. Um, are they able to make plays, ball handling? And so the first things I just listed are things that definitely get my head turning. Like, okay, what's going on over here? And then it gets down, to the technical stuff of, can they make plays in the 2-man game? Can they defend? Are they a hard worker? So those are definitely things that definitely catch my eye. And obviously, it goes back to what Coach Elsie needs and what she wants for this program and how she wants to play. So she is very clear. Motor is important, and I believe in those same things. So it's easy to believe in what she believes in.
So you've had a fair bit of interview experience, different levels, different teams, different programs. Um, for those that are prepping for interviews, in the future, were there support staff members trying to be assistant coaches that maybe jump into another level or another program? Um, what are some questions you felt like, or you better be able to answer this question? This question is coming, you know, this may cost you the job, so be able to answer that one. And that's part one. And then part two is in all honesty, was there a question that you may have been asked during the interview that may have caught you off guard? It was like, you know what? Even though it may have been simple to certain people, I never really had to answer that question, so it kind of caught me off guard. So it was hard to answer.
Good question, because I haven't interviewed in a while. Because I've been super blessed to be here at Kentucky. So from what I can remember, to not even get into the specifics first, I think in any interview you do, you have to be confident, but also be humble, but confident in knowing what you bring to the table. You have to convey that like you are the best person for the job. And that not coming off in a cocky way, but a confident way of, I've been able to do this, this, and this because I've worked hard, because I've put in the work. And so I think making sure you're coming off confident, and just letting them know that like you are willing to do what needs to be done, that you are not too big for any job. I don't care what position you're interviewing for, you're never too big to do anything. And so I think making sure that they know that and that you're the best person for the job, and conveying why you are, and what it is that are your strengths. And then also being honest of your weaknesses, but also talking about how you are working on your weaknesses. Not that, yeah, this is a weakness. No, this is a weakness. And I've been aware of that and I'm working on that. And this is what I'm doing to work on that. And so being very transparent, I think, would be well received, because that shows that you are an aware person and you're not just like, yeah, I'm the great at this, I'm the best at this, and I don't make any mistakes. I think, that is the most important thing. I think the one question that might have not even specific because I cannot remember, but I think you always need to be prepared for scenarios because I think in one of my interviews, it was just like, hey, if this happens, if a player comes to you and is talking bad about the head coach and the head coach is doing this, this, and this, and they, are playing favoritism and whatever it is that they might come to you about, how would you handle that situation? And so, I think I eventually, talked about it and answered the scenario in a proper way. But like your mind has to be thinking you're going to be placed in situations that might be uncomfortable. But how are you going to respond and react to that where that player feels heard, but also knows that, hey, this is not also, how you um, need to talk about certain situations or people. Are you coming to me with a concern? Or are you coming to me with a complaint? And so I think making sure the player is heard and that you're not just dismissing them. I think it's kind of maybe what I said. I ended up getting a job, so I think I answered it in a good way. But I think always being prepared for scenarios, of how you would handle certain situations, whether that might be on or off the court.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, so we've talked about a lot of good. Let's talk about some bad. So we've all been through certain case scenarios as coaches, that, things don't go the best. You know, it could be lots of reasons, we become disgruntled. It could be work relationships with coworkers, administration, um, maybe not being happy with the location, pay, feel like you're not getting paid your worth, all type of things. Um, I don't know about you, but if you have had those moments, you know, that you're willing to share, like tell us about one of those and how you got through it.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been moments.
Mhm.
But when I think about it, I've torn my ACL twice, and a lot of people helped me through that. And I always said like, there's always going to be like more good days than bad days, and to celebrate the small victories. And so I've kind of lived by that. Of you know, I've gone through some tough moments as everybody has, and I think, what I kind of referenced earlier is my relationship with God. That has not always been perfect or strong, but he's always been there, and I'm, very strong in my faith. So he's always there. Even if I leave him come back, I think, what I've tried to do is stay strong in my faith and trust that like I'm in the right spot, the right position, even if, I'm not getting paid what I think my worth is. I think trusting the process and knowing that I need to continue to work to eventually put myself in that position. And I think something that I have I did even when I was a GA, with getting a stipend, and then even with being an assistant coach, the pay was not, you know, what I imagined, but it was my first assistant coach job. So I was just grateful for the opportunity. And so I think, being where your feet are, being grateful for the opportunity, not thinking about the future and, I need to be getting paid this, this, and this. I I didn't even think about what I want to get paid. I don't know how if that sounds bad, but I just was being where I was and doing what I needed to do in order, to put myself in spots and positions, to where, my name is brought up, in conversations, that because that's how it works, man. You just got to do the work and grind, and people will see that, and people in power and position will see that, and they will take care of you at the end of the day. And so I've worked through those situations by just keeping my faith, staying true just to myself, and not trying to be someone I'm not. I've just been authentic, and I think that has ultimately placed me in rooms, in situations of setting myself up and putting me where I am today.
Mhm, mhm. Couple more questions, coach. Um, we talked about this off air, the NIL, as I like to call it, the NIL revolution, is taking over college basketball. We've seen Texas Tech players get 25,000, South Carolina players 25,000 per year off of NIL deals. Your thoughts on it?
I
A,
okay, sorry.
it's okay, a beneficial, player tool. You see, for example, LSU even has a member on their staff directly there just to handle those type of situations and things. Do you think at your level, the Power Five level, that you guys will install one of those members as a part of the programs just in general, and the pros and cons of it?
I think the NIL is a I think it's been good, for players, for student athletes. It gives them an opportunity, to use their name, image, and likeness to make money. Because at the end of the day, when you look at the percentages, a lot of student athletes are not going professional, in their sports. And for women's basketball, the longevity, especially in the WNBA, is not very long, and so a lot of women college players have to leave, the country in order to make money. And so, but for a lot of people, they might want to just get right into their career, but it gives all our student athletes to, make a profit, because at the end of the day, universities, are making a profit off of, our student athletes. And so I think it's only right that the student athletes are able to do that as well. So I'm glad that that has progressed over the years, and that, the NCAA has found a way to help our student athletes be able to, make a profit, off of what they're doing. Because, what they're doing is playing a sport that they love, and they're getting rewarded for that. So I think still figuring out things of, how it can work, and finding, some hitches in it that things need to be tweaked. But I think, it's very new. And so I think it's continuing to evolve and progress. And your second question, what was your second question? I'm sorry.
Do you think that other staffs should start to ask somebody, a support staff member, just to handle, NIL stuff and things like that? Do you think that's a value?
Right. I think it is a value. And I think here at Kentucky, we're very progressive, in that we have definitely been doing things um, that might not have been, broadcasted, but, we have people, in our program that is very well versed on the NIL, and that are meeting with our players, that are helping our players. Because, we really don't want this to be kind of like a one-off thing. We are helping them build their brand, not just for now, but for the future, sorry. And so, how can you be brandable? How can you put yourself out there and put yourself in the best situation? Even as me as a coach, it's the same thing. What I've learned in college is still helping me now. And so, we definitely have people here at Kentucky on our staff that is, like I said, well versed, and they're helping our players, every week. Financial literacy. Our student athletes are taking classes in order to learn about the money that they can and will make off of NIL, and how they can make that money work for them. And it just not being, okay, got, a deal, and I'm gonna go spend it on some shoes. But now that, we are educating them, they are better prepped and prepared to be just in better situations, down the line. So I think it's very valuable. And I think here at Kentucky, we're very progressive, and we are helping our student athletes put them in the best position to be successful long term.
So I come to the game. I'm in Kentucky. I go and I watch Kentucky play for Florida. You guys pull off the win. Um, I'm walking back to my car. I get in the car. Before I pull off, I'm thinking, Kentucky is this. What do you want to float through my mind? Like, Kentucky is blank.
Kentucky is that team. Woo! They bringing that fire. They bringing that heat. I mean, it's like, five of them went in, they got tired, and another five came in. And so it's just like, it never stops with Kentucky. They are going to get us out of our seats. They are going to be a fun, exciting, exhilarating team to watch, because they play and work so hard. And by doing that, they are making plays and they're playing together. They are high fiving, chest bumping, all that stuff, diving on the floor. And so I want, I want a fan to leave and just be like, man, that game was fun. I'm coming back and I'm bringing 4 or 5 people with me. So that is, I want you to be smiling when you getting in that car, like those girls play hard. So that's the feeling.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, I've asked a million questions. I'm long-winded. It's your time. Anything you want to share, anything that I may have missed, books you may have read, questions you may have for me, whatever you want to do, it's your time.
Well, I don't have anything specific, Christian. I just appreciate the opportunity to be here and to be heard and to, just talk about Kentucky, to talk about my path. I'm just super grateful to be in the position that I'm in. And I think, one thing that I put out on social media a little while ago is, this is not a position of power, but a position, of purpose. And so I feel like I am daily walking in my purpose and able to make an impact on, these young women's lives, not just as players, but as people, and making sure they know that we care about them. And it is not just a 4-year commitment, but it is a long time commitment. So I'm just super grateful for this opportunity and to be in a position that I'm in today. So thank you for having me.
Awesome, Coach. Thank you so much. You have a good one.
Thank you. You too.